If you're administering an estate and you have any possibility of the property becoming vacant, then this video is for you. Hi, I'm Deric Rangell. I'm a certified probate specialist for over 30 years. And in this segment, what we're going to talk about is what you must do to protect your property from squatters. Most people will relate squatters to areas where there's a lot of homelessness. And let me debunk that myth right now. Anywhere there is a vacant home, there is a potential for a squatter. It could be a mansion, it could be the poorest neighborhood in the county, but squatters affect all kinds of properties all the time. And so what is important to understand is squatters, it's going to take them a little bit of time to figure out that a home is vacant. And one thing you have to understand is while squatters might be squatters, they have access to cell phones. And with cell phones, they have access to data, and they have access to data with homes that show vacant. And that's what you need to know. So do not take this lightly. And the reason I say this is if you don't do these steps early, early, at the time you're petitioning or even sooner, if you can have the consent of the family members, what you want to do is file what's called an agency agreement. Now, an agency agreement is something that the local law enforcement has, and essentially what that agreement says is it tells them who you are. So you could be the family member, or you could be the agent, or you could be the attorney petitioning and the real estate agent if you know who you're doing business with, and their names are going to go on that form. And what that form is going to say is what the property in question is that's left vacant or potentially vacant, and by when it might be vacant. And from that day forward, you're establishing a baseline date. And so normally what happens is it takes squatters a couple of, few weeks, maybe a month or two, to ascertain that a property is vacant. And this is why you need that document filed before you do this. Filing that document basically is an agreement between you and the police department and the DA, indicating that upon an arrest of a trespasser, you intend to cooperate with the conviction. So the deal is you sign the document, you agree to cooperate, press charges, and then they convict. And for that, they will protect your property. Now, along with that, you are required to also post no trespassing signs. And in doing so on no trespassing signs, you have to indicate on the part where you can write, it's basically the typical no trespassing are black with red letters with the white section. And in the white section, you're going to write that any violator will be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law under Penal Code 602. Now, if there's a local ordinance, you can add that to the document, but generally that verbiage is satisfactory to warrant an arrest. Now, why do you want to do this? In any county in Southern California, if you file a notice of eviction on a squatter, they almost all know to answer that complaint. And when they answer, you're going to trial. Now, an eviction that's going to go to trial is going to cost upwards of $12,000 to $14,000, and they get to live there for free. I've had situations where people don't protect the property early enough. You get a squatter, and next thing you know, all the copper's gone, all the plumbing's gone, all the electrical wiring's gone. They burn it out and they sell the copper for drugs. That's essentially what they do, or food, whatever. But in any case, it adds significant cost to remedying the problem that they become. So what you want to do is you want to find out what your local agency is, and you can get that by Los Angeles County, for example, or Los Angeles City of LA. You go to the local precinct. In areas where there's a sheriff's department, you go to the sheriff's department that's got jurisdiction in your neighborhood, and all of them have that. Now, you'll sign a form in a book, and then you'll complete the form, and then they keep it on file, and those agreements last typically 6 months. Now, in larger counties, there are other types of notifications. For example, if it's a foreclosure, banks typically are required to register their vacant property, so code enforcement knows the property is vacant, and the asset managers from the banks do the same thing. They file an agency agreement. But on those ones, they typically charge a fee because those agreements last for a full year. Now, the fees are nominal. It's worth it. Anything you can do to get more law enforcement protection on your vacant home is smart to do. So don't be penny wise and pound foolish and say, I don't want to spend $150 or $140 to get this thing done. Spend it. It's way cheaper than filing for an eviction, I promise you. And it's much faster to get rid of the deterrent that squatters become, because you can just have them arrested, thrown out, and sooner or later they figure out that everyone who comes subsequent is going to get arrested too, and then they stop coming, and then you win. So hope that helps you to protect your probate real estate and to give you good protection from squatters, because they are a nuisance and they're very expensive to remedy the problem they cause for estates. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you next time.